I'm going to guide us through a quick tapping sequence that you can use if you've had a little bit of fear or apprehension about really following your passions and including those in your future. So what I'd like you to do first is just think of one of those passions that you would like to have in your future. And don't worry if you have several of them. You can always repeat this process later on and focus on each individual passion. But for now, I'd like you to just stick with one so we can stay really focused. So just kind of think of that passion and really tune into it. Notice how you feel when you're doing it and really in that space of that passion as well. Just kind of what feelings you have, what you do during it, what you like about yourself while you're doing it, all that good stuff. And normally I get you to check in with how your body feels before we start tapping, but for this particular sequence, we're going to check in after we've already done a little tapping and then later on as well. So don't worry about that. For now, let's just start tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I've got a little bit of fear about following my passions, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm feeling some fear and apprehension maybe about following my passions and including them in my future, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I've got some fear and maybe some apprehension about really including my passions in my future, I'm open to loving and accepting myself anyways. Alright, and tap on the top of the head. I've got some fear and apprehension about following my passions. Tap on the eyebrow. I've got a bit of fear around it. Tap on the side of the eye. I've got some fears or apprehensions that might be kind of stopping me or inhibiting me from really building my future with those passions in it. Tap under the eye. Maybe some of those fears have to do with what I would have to do in order to include that passion in my future. Tap under the nose and just check in if that's true for you at all. Tap under the lips. Could be that some of the steps you would have to take in order to include that passion in your future might cause a little bit of anxiety for you. Tap on the collarbone. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid about some of the things I would have to do or steps I would have to take to include this passion in my future. Tap under the arm. Got some fear about that. Tap on the top of the head. I've got some fear about that, and I'd kind of like to invite any fears that I have about that to just step forward and identify themselves. Tap on the eyebrow. And just notice what comes up for you if there are specific things that you're afraid of. Tap on the side of the eye. It could be that some of the things you would have to do to follow that passion involve risk of rejection, for example, or putting yourself out there. Tap under the eye. Maybe losing touch with some people that you care about. Tap under the nose. Maybe a lot of time involved. Tap under the lips. I've got some fears about these things I might have to do to really follow my passions. Tap on the collarbone. Got some fears about that. Tap under the arm. Got some fears and anxieties about the steps I might have to take to really follow my passions. Tap on the top of the head. There might be some risks involved in following the passions. Tap on the eyebrow. Or maybe some of the things I might have to do in order to be able to follow passions just sounds so awful to me. Tap on the side of the eye, and I'm afraid of it. Tap under the eye. Got some fear involved there. Tap under the nose. Maybe I'll have to do some hard things. Tap under the lips. There might be some financial fears as well, if it's something that will involve some finances on your part. Tap on the collarbone, or maybe take your time and resources away from things that can ensure your financial security. Tap under the arm. I've got a lot of fears about really following my passions. Tap on the top of the head. I've got some fears about following my passions. Tap on the eyebrow. I've got more than one fear about the steps I would have to take to follow my passions. Tap on the side of the eye. Definitely got a bunch of fear there. Tap under the eye. Seems kind of risky. Tap under the nose. And maybe not really that safe. Tap under the lips. Got some fears there about the steps I might have to take to follow my passions. Tap on the collarbone. Got some fears there. Tap under the arm. All these fears about the steps I would have to take in order to follow my passions and really create my future around them. Alright, let's take a little break. Just take a nice deep breath and then we'll check in. So as we were tapping, you probably noticed some of those fears coming up for you. Right now, I'd like you to just check in with your body and see what's there as far as feelings. Do you still feel any of those fears? And where are they, if so? So you might notice kind of some fluttering in your chest, maybe a little bit of contraction in your throat. Just see what's there for you. And we'll start tapping on the side of the hand again. Even though I'm feeling all these fears in my body, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I can really feel all these fears, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I'm feeling all these fears that I have about steps I might need to take to follow my passions, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Alright, and tap on the top of the head. Feeling these fears in my body. Tap on the eyebrow. I can really feel these fears. Tap on the side of the eye. Feel these fears in my body. Tap under the eye. Feel these fears and I feel like they're kind of affecting me. Tap under the nose. I'm really feeling these fears in my body. Tap under the lips. I'm kind of worried these fears might hold me back. Tap on the collarbone. I'm feeling these fears in my body for sure. Tap under the arm. I feel these fears. Tap on the top of the head. These fears about following my passion. Tap on the eyebrow. I'm really feeling these fears. Tap on the side of the eye. I'm feeling them in my body for sure. Tap under the eye. Is it really safe to follow my passion? Tap under the nose. Is it too risky? Tap under the lips. I'm feeling a lot of fears. Tap on the collarbone. A lot of fears and apprehension. Tap under the arm. Feeling all these fears about following my passion and the steps that it might take to do so. Tap on the top of the head. And maybe I've also got some fears about what would actually play out in my life if I did follow my passion and really include it in my future. Tap on the eyebrow and just check in about that. Tap on the side of the eye. So as we're tapping, just really imagine your future with that passion as something that's included in it. Tap under the eye. And as you do so, just kind of invite any fears around what that life will look like to show themselves to you. Tap under the nose. I've got some fears about what my life will look like if I actually follow this passion and include it in my future. Tap under the lips. Definitely got some fears about that. Tap on the collarbone. I've got some fears about the way my life will actually look if I do include these passions of mine in my future. Tap under the arm. And just notice any of the details that come up as you picture yourself following that passion and living that life. Tap on the top of the head. You might notice that there are some small details that are kind of calling out to you almost. Tap on the eyebrow. Things like maybe not having enough time for other things that you used to have time for and really enjoy. Tap on the side of the eye. Or some aspects of following that passion that might be a hassle. Tap under the eye, like maybe there's a long commute to be able to do so. Tap under the nose, or maybe you're worried that people that you'll meet through that passion won't be supportive and accepting of you. Tap under the lips. Then you won't get the help that you really need and deserve. Tap on the collarbone. Maybe it just feels like everything will be too hard if you follow that passion and are living that life. Tap under the arm. Maybe it feels like you could follow that passion and then really just not be fulfilled at all. Tap on the top of the head. Oh, I've got some fears about what might happen if I actually include this passion in my future. Tap on the eyebrow. Got some definite fears about that. Tap on the side of the eye. I'm worried that there might be some little details, or maybe big details, that might make my life kind of miserable even if I follow this passion. Tap under the eye. I'm worried that something's not going to be right. Tap under the nose. I'm kind of afraid of what would happen if I actually include this passion in my future. Tap under the lips. Somehow something's not going to be good. Tap on the collarbone. I've got some fears about this, for sure. Tap under the arm. Oh, I've got some fears about this. Tap on the top of the head. Kind of feels almost like I need to micromanage every aspect of my life, maybe, if I follow this passion. Tap on the eyebrow, just to make sure that I don't have to deal with these things that are going to be bad about life if I follow that passion. Tap on the side of the eye, and just check in if that feels true for you at all. Tap under the eye. Like, it almost feels like I have to kind of imagine every detail and figure out a strategy to make everything okay. Tap under the nose. And there could be things that go wrong if I follow my passion. Tap under the lips. Like, what will I lose out on if I follow this passion? Tap on the collarbone. Feels like I'm going to probably lose out on something that I like. Tap under the arm. Probably have to lose out on something that I like if I follow this passion. Tap on the top of the head. And just notice if there's anything coming up for you that you might be afraid of losing out on. Tap on the eyebrow. Kind of afraid of losing out on things if I follow my passion. On the side of the eye. I'm afraid that things won't work out. Tap under the eye. That I'll follow that passion and have that, but everything else will be crappy. Tap under the nose. Woohoo, right? Tap under the lips. Of course, I'll look forward to that. Tap on the collarbone. It doesn't feel like I can just trust that I could follow this passion and get support and things will work out easily. Tap under the arm. Just check in if that feels true for you. Tap on the top of the head. I'd like to be open to some other possibilities, though. Tap on the eyebrow. I'd like to be open to the idea that I could just trust things will work out. Tap on the side of the eye. But I have so many fears about following my passion. Tap under the eye. I just feel afraid of what my life will look like if I do follow that passion and actually live it. Tap under the nose. I have a lot of fears about that. Tap under the lips. Seems like there's just so many details that would have to work out in order for me to feel really happy with my life and experience joy. Tap on the collarbone. And I'm really afraid things won't work out. Tap under the arm. Pretty afraid things won't work out. Alright, so let's just take a break again. Take a nice deep breath. And just check in with your body again. See if you're feeling any of those fears currently, and if so, where they're felt. You might notice kind of some tension or tightness in the hip area or the pelvis. You might also notice a little bit of constriction in the throat. Just see what's there for you. And then we'll start tapping on the side of the hand again. Even though I'm feeling these fears in my body, and so they seem really, really real, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I can feel these fears in my body, I'm open to loving and accepting myself. Even though I have these fears about what my life will look like if I really include my passion in it. And I feel them in my body a lot. I'm open to loving and accepting myself. And tap on the top of the head. Feeling these fears in my body. Tap on the eyebrow. Feeling these fears about what my life will look like if I actually include my passion in it. Tap on the side of the eye. Feeling a lot of fear about that. Tap under the eye. Feeling this fear in my body. Tap under the nose. I can feel this fear in my body and it seems really real. Tap under the lips. It seems like I can feel this fear in my body, so of course these things are going to happen. I can feel it. Tap on the collarbone. I can feel this fear in my body. Tap under the arm. I have all these fears about what my life will be like if I really include my passion in my future. Tap on the top of the head. And I can really feel them in my body a lot. Tap on the eyebrow. I feel these fears in my body. Tap on the side of the eye. I feel these fears about what my future will be like if I include my passions in it. Tap under the eye. feel these fears and I feel them in my body. Tap under the nose. Feel these fears in my body. Tap under the lips. And so they seem really real. Tap on the collarbone. I like to be open to some other options though. Tap under the arm. Like, what if I could feel these fears and it doesn't mean that following my passions isn't going to work out? Tap on the top of the head. What if I could feel these fears and it doesn't mean that anything is going to go wrong? Tap on the eyebrow. What if I could be trusting that things will work out when I follow my passions? Tap on the side of the eye. I don't think I can be open to that. Tap under the eye. All that sounds just too scary. Tap under the nose. It doesn't sound very realistic. Tap under the lips. It doesn't sound safe to trust. Tap on the collarbone. So, I mean, I'd like to be open to the possibility that things will just work out if I follow my passions. Tap under the arm. But I don't think I can. Tap on the top of the head. Or maybe I can. Tap on the eyebrow. I mean, it seems like it should be possible. Tap on the side of the eye. Maybe for other people, but not for me. Tap under the eye. I'd like it to be possible. Tap under the nose, but I kind of know better. Tap under the lips. Maybe it could be possible for me, though. Tap on the collarbone. And whether it could or couldn't, whether I can trust or not, tap under the arm. Either way, I'd like to be okay and just accept myself as I am. Alright, take a break again. Take a nice deep breath. And just check in with your body again. See what you feel now. Notice if you're still experiencing any of those fears, or maybe they've shifted and subsided and you feel pretty confident about how things will work out. If you are still feeling some of those fears, you can tap through this video again and just focus on the feelings that you have and any aspects that are coming up as far as particular things that you're afraid of, for example, or some of the feelings that you feel in your body. So another thing that you can do is if you notice any particular memories that are coming up as we're tapping, that's pretty normal and kind of to be expected. So those can give you clues about things that you could work on with the tell the story technique for a more focused approach. So for example, if you had memories of things like following your passions and things did go really crappy and wrong and you got hurt in some way from doing that, then you can kind of tap through those memories and let go of any hurt feelings or stuck energy around that. And once we're able to let go of those things and kind of just accept the fears that we have and let them be and then subside, that can really open the doors to following our passions, and that provides obviously a lot of fuel for a really nice life and feeling a lot of joy.